Intro music.
Come on in.
A star for the ages for Tony Gwynn, number 3,000.
And the ball game is over. The series is over. Welcome to Slam Diego.
My name is James,
My name is Joey.
and this is the Brothers Padre.
James, they say the definition of insanity is doing the same thing and expecting a different result. I feel like we've done this podcast 7 times now, and we always expect a different result.
I feel like it's been every week we've done this podcast.
Yeah, loyal listeners, watchers of San Diego Padres, it's been a frustrating season. It's not even over, but it's been probably the most frustrating season in the past 4 years.
The Padres officially played their 100th game of the season yesterday. That means there's 62 games left. We are 3 games below 500. And 6 games out of the wild card.
6.5 games out of all 3 wild card spots, which is not nothing, but it's not incredible.
But here's the thing about that particular stat. The last 10 games were 5-5.
Yeah.
We've moved up 4 spots in the wild card standing. Everybody ahead of us technically is sucking more than we are right now.
Yep.
And is losing heartbreaking games. And so if there was ever a chance for the Padres to just put in second, not even we're in first, or we're not neutral anymore, put in second. We don't have to go really fast, just
Slow and
slightly
steady.
better.
Yeah. Man, oh man. We haven't done this in the All-Star break because if you listen to our podcast, thank you. But you've been noticing a theme. It's the same podcast over and over again. We're frustrated and annoyed, and they give us a little bit of hope, and they yank it out in front of us. And that's been the theme. You know, before the All-Star break, we play the Angels, sweep them. We play the Mets, take the series. We're feeling good in the All-Star break. We play the Phillies, and we lose 3 games to the 4-game set to them. And then what happens? Oh, we take 2 against the Blue Jays and 2 against the Tigers. Still not able to sweep those series where we probably should have. And they give us hope, and they yank it in front of us. A good example is the Tiger series. Second game, we beat them 14-3.
Yeah, that's a football score.
And then the next game against their worst pitcher, we put up 1 run. The guy has 7 ERA. That's terrible. His last 2 starts, he only pitched 3 innings. And they couldn't score off of him. And it's so frustrating. I actually don't think I'm frustrated. I'm just numb to it at this point. I'm not. 3 weeks ago, I'd be pretty frustrated. Now I'm just like this. I guess this is the reality until things change. And things are supposedly going to change, James, because, as you said, we're 6.5 games out of the wild card, all the wild card spots, and AJ Preller said we're going to be buyers. I guess we're buying, James. I guess we're adding more to this party.
Our starting pitching is still good. Our bullpen has really good pieces in it. Has been shakier as of late, but Tim Hill is still the ground ball king. Cosgrove and Abbott have been outstanding. Wilson has been steady. Suarez is back. He looks sharp. Hader's always going to be Hader. Martinez this year has been the real. Martinez and Honeywell have been like flip of the coin if he's going to be good or bad. And Garcia isn't always bad.
No. He's great when They have a 12-run lead.
That's true.
It's just, I don't know. The question I posed for you, James, is this. We can make this a podcast how, we couldn't get there this past few weeks. We just almost there. We've had that podcast too many times. But the rubber meets the road is this, James. You've been magically transformed again into AJ Preller. And you are tasked to riding the ship to give you a wild card spot. What 3 moves do you do to give your best chances to that?
This is what I would do.
Okay, I'm ready.
All right. So here's the thing. You mentioned that we're going to be buyers, not sellers. And the more I thought about it, the reason why we're not going to be sellers. So out of the 100 games we've played so far, 45 of them have been home games. Only 7 of those games have not been sellouts. As somebody that's worked in retail, you don't destroy a product that's selling out.
Right.
So yes, we're stuck in this middle ground, but people love the players. People want to root for it. It's the hottest ticket in San Diego. 38 sellouts is a lot of money, and it is a big chip on the ownership's shoulders. So if they were becoming, because right now the Cardinals have started a fire sale. They're going to sell a bunch of their players. And if that's the case, I don't think the Padres are going to do that. The Padres are looking to sell out at least 50 games this year. And they can do it. Absolutely. I think we're going to be buyers. Who I think we should go for. Speaking of the Cardinals, I think we could trade one of our, or at least 2 of our top pitching prospects for the rental of Paul Goldschmidt. Gold Glove clobber first baseman, MVP last year. Yes, he's 35 years old. But he's still a really good producer. And that would give another bat to our lineup. Mm-hmm. We would probably not have a DH then. We'd have a floating DH. Goldschmidt would be a DH a game. Cronenworth would be first base. Cronenworth would be first base. Goldschmidt would be DH. Or Hassan Kim would play short, third, or second, and those guys would be the DHs.
Yep.
It'd be a floating DH position. I think that right there is probably the biggest deal we could go for. And as far as the other 2 positions, I think we should go for. Our starting pitching, if Michael Wacha's shoulder comes back and he's good, we still have one of the best starting pitching rotations. We trade for a not even a great, a decent middle of reliever.
Yeah, or 2.
Or 2. Exactly. Those would that's how I'd put.
Yeah.
At least 2 middle relievers. And that's what I'd say would be the 2 fixes. Now, would Paul Goldschmidt fix our wonky offense? I don't know. I think one of the biggest things that's going to fix our offense this year, Luis Camposano came back from the DH, back from the IL, has gone off. Mm-hmm. He had a 4-hit game. And ironically, the only 2 games we've lost since he's come back are the only 2 games he hasn't started.
I'm just saying.
I'm not saying, that's his fault. But now we have 2 catchers that can throw the ball and throw out runners. Might not be able to call as good as a game.
Whatever that means.
Well, whatever that means, exactly.
We're still the best rotation. Like, ERA-wise in July, we're the best ERA. It's starting pitching.
Yeah.
So,
There's that. Anyways, so like I'm saying, I don't think, as far as offense, Goldschmidt. As far as pitching, 2 relievers. And our catching position from right now, it looks like it's fixed. If Camposano could keep hitting, and our backup pitcher is now, a power threat, that's a good deal.
Yep, I agree. I really want Goldschmidt. I think that's a great. I think that's a great ad. I think it fixes our power problem at first, obviously. Not saying Alfonso Rivas doesn't fix that for us, but no disrespect to Alfonso Rivas. Very successful person, obviously, by being a major leaguer, but just not a first baseman that you think is a threat. I wonder if... So if I'm AJ Preller all of a sudden, I agree that I think the relievers are the obvious one. I think I might go a little different. I would find whatever infielder you can get. I mean, I'm thinking like AJ Preller that gives you the most power that you have access to. You're probably just going to try to go after that. Paul Goldschmidt's the immediate one to think about. I wonder too if you go after. It's just so tough now because there's not really super clear sellers. There's a couple. There's the Cardinals and the Royals. But the Royals aren't having a good offensive year at all. But I do wonder if you get some sort of power infielder, because infield's very flexible for the Padres, and just slot them in there. And then I do wonder if you have to be pretty creative, because I actually would not be surprised if they get a starter and put Lugo in the bullpen like he was in the playoffs last year for the Mets.
Yeah.
I think the holes you've identified, and this is not great audio, but like, I think you're right. Those are the holes that you want to fill. Those, I'm not going to be contrarian because those are truthfully like better bullpen and a better offensive threat at first base. And I think that I keep thinking about who would be someone that I'd be interested. I wouldn't mind, like, you could also do, I wouldn't be surprised if the Preller did something like, sign back Yasmani Grandal, who can be a first baseman and a catcher. And you maintain some level of control on all your young guys. You won't have to get rid of your top prospects for them. And you hope they kind of bounce back up. But that has to be, like, I don't see another move. Like, Ohtani's not going to be traded at deadline anymore unless they lose the last 6 games.
Yeah.
They're in the hunt, which is awesome. That's awesome for the Angels. But there's no, like, clear one guy who's out there. So, and I don't think Preller is willing to, and if Goldschmidt and Arenado are going to be traded, which they might be, then I don't think Preller is going to get in a bidding war. So my worry is we're just going to, as AJ Preller, thinking about that and thinking about how I am, you're gonna find some pieces here and there and hope it does enough. So I think Yasmani Grandal makes a lot of sense. Finding some okay relievers from the Royals is probably what you're going to do too. Yeah. And if the Mets sell, same thing. The Mets have good relievers as well.
The problem with the Mets selling, their GM, I just have a feeling that he asks for way too much. Hence why they rely on signing, not training.
Right. As evident by the $450 million.
Yeah. Well, because as he used to run the Angels,
right.
They didn't do a lot of trades when he ran the Angels. He signed. Because I have a feeling he wants as good as he gets.
Yeah.
And it's just not how it works when you trade. You could get a decent piece and a prospect.
Right.
That could be as good as you get or better. It's just weird. The other thing, and I think it's telling the moves that they're trying to make, is because once we DFA'd Nelson Cruz, that means we're no longer looking for a full-time DH.
Right.
If Nelson Cruz all of a sudden had a resurgence of a career like Albert Pujols did last year, he would still be a DH every day.
Right.
But he's not, and he didn't. So Matt Carpenter is still on our team because he can play both corner outfield positions and first base. That is a valuable position to have because he won't hurt you playing those defensive positions if you need to have a defensive replacement. And he's still a big league hitter. And so I think they're definitely going to have a floating DH. Matt Carpenter, he's going to have better luck next year with a different team because we only signed up for 1 year. And other hit players that are out there, other teams that might be selling, the Cubs might be selling. Like there's rumors that Marcus Stroman's on the market.
Well, and Cody Bellinger is probably the most talked about, most conceivable trade piece from them. He's having a weird year. Like he's getting extremely lucky. His exit velocity is down. I feel like he's like if he plays outside of Wrigley every day, you're gonna see him just like not do as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Who else? Who else is really the big trade piece in? I don't know. I could see CJ Cron from the Rockies get traded. I always say that about the Rockies, but they never trade anybody, so I don't know.
No, they trade people when you least expect it. Like they'll trade Aaron Arenado,
right?
For just out of the book. What?
Yeah,
they traded their best player for nobody.
Yeah,
and not only did they trade their best player, they gave the team they traded cash.
Yeah,
they paid someone here. Take our generational third base talent, and here's some money to make it go down better. Unbelievable. Yeah, but CJ Cron, I can see being traded, but he's not having the best year. The A's, but who do they have? Brett Rooker. We could get him back.
That's true.
He was their all-star, and he's having a good offensive year.
Yeah,
I think that's because they're playing the A's, so they just throw him fastballs, and he doesn't care.
Yeah,
there are rumors that the Guardians might be selling to bolster up their team next year.
Yeah, I don't know. I wonder who I am. I do wonder a little bit about as we're talking about this on July 24th. As of now, Pierce Johnson was traded to the Braves. How about that?
He was a Royal, right?
He was a Rocky.
Oh. See, I can't even remember who he was on.
Yeah. All the names. I'm looking at lists of what people think about, like, who would you pick to, who would you want, who could you trade for? And they're all names we talked about. The Royals have a bunch of random relievers, a bunch of people that could progress better. Goldie, possibly. The White Sox, Giolito, Lance Lynn. Neither of the guys excite me that much.
No, because Lance Lynn's been hurt a lot this year.
Yep.
Lucas Giolito, okay. I mean, he would be a decent bat.
Pitcher, yeah.
Yeah, pitcher.
Yeah.
There isn't any. The big piece has been Shohei, but the Angels were never going to trade him. The Angels are hoping beyond hope that he'll sign again with them, and hoping that they make a playoff push, he might see that they're good enough to stay around with.
And this is not an Angels podcast, but like, if they are in the hunt at the trade deadline and they get Mike Trout back, like, I mean, what are we doing? Like, that makes them a formidable team.
Yes.
So there's just no way they're going to trade him, especially if they're this good. There's no reason to. And Artie Moreno is an old guy. And we've talked about this previously. Like, the owner of the Angels doesn't want to be the guy that traded Babe Ruth.
No.
That was a literal curse that happened for that organization. And you just don't. And especially, like, he's on a tear. Like, imagine if he breaks Aaron Judge's home run record as a Red. What if or as another AL team, right? I don't know. There's just no way. I think we're in a weird position, the Padres are, because we just don't, in theory, you can make the case the only thing you should add is a reliever or two, because the rest of the team should be good enough. Because no, those if we get Paul Goldschmidt two relievers, say this fantasy land that we're concocting, if the rest of the team stinks just as bad as and inconsistent as it is now, I don't think it really does much.
No, it doesn't.
It really doesn't. So like, this team just needs to be on it and firing all cylinders at all times.
It's so unbelievably all year. All of our bats are hot for one game. Manny Machado might get Player of the Month.
Yeah.
He's the hottest player in July. He got the Player of the Week already. But when we only could put up one run the other day, he didn't get a hit.
Right.
It's like, how is it? But again, you could have a bad day, but how is it that Tatis, Soto, and Bogarts, and Cronenworth, and Kim all can't hit either the same day? Like, it shouldn't all be on one guy, especially when we have this many guys. But it seems like they all hit one game.
Yep.
And they can't hit another. We won one game in Detroit, and all the offense came from Soto.
Yep.
He hit 2 home runs, monster shots. And that's basically all 5 runs came from Soto. And that's great. We can't. We need them all to be more consistent. We just can't. They can't all be terrible one game. It seems like it's the roller coaster we were on. We would win by 10, lose by nothing. Win by 10, we have 10 runs, 0 runs. 10 runs, 0 runs.
Yep. It's awful. I don't like it. I'm not a fan of it. But maybe, I mean, we have 62 games to figure it out. And maybe they go on a run that makes us look like fools. I hope so. And it's trade deadline season, so we talk about trades. Our policy is we talk about big trades. We don't talk about little trades.
Mainly because there's 1,000 little trades that happen.
Yeah, and we don't talk about little trades with Padres. I think when we signed Jake Marisnick 2 years ago, we didn't make a podcast about it. Could have. We didn't.
Yeah, because he was, yeah.
I don't regret that decision.
The thing is, this is going to go down as one of the weirdest years in baseball history.
Yep.
Teams that should have been good weren't. Teams that had no good reason to be good were. But even the teams that are good aren't really that good.
Yeah, the Padres have the third best run differential in the National League.
Yeah.
We should be a very good team.
Yes. And that for those who don't know, that means we outscore our opponents. We have the third highest outscoring our opponents in the league.
Yeah.
The problem is we outscore our opponents by 32 runs.
Yeah.
The problem is we have a 14 game run game and then a 1-run game.
Yep. Yep.
Spread it out a bit, guys. Spread it out. The other thing is, it's a weird year. People that should have good offensive years aren't having good offensive years all around the league. And our next 3 series are going to be against the Pirates, the Rangers, and I can't remember the other guy. We're going to Colorado. We're going to Colorado.
Oh, I love watching Coors series. I love it. I enjoy watching Coors Field games so very much. Which is to say, not at all.
I know. Everyone knows you refer to Coors as the moon.
Yeah, I mean, it's basically the trade deadline is going to happen in the middle of the Rocky series. So, yeah, Pittsburgh, Texas, Colorado. And then we have a pretty rough August. We play the Dodgers, the Mariners, the Diamondbacks, the Orioles, Diamondbacks, Marlins, Brewers, and the Cardinals. Gotta be good, San Diego Padres. For me. Do it for me.
Have to be consistent. Consistently good.
Yeah.
Okay. The other thing, so this next couple games, in theory, we should sweep the Pirates. They had a really hot beginning of the season, but now they're last in the division. But
in theory.
In practice, we'll take 2 out of 3.
Yeah.
The Rangers, surprisingly, are the best team in baseball. Bruce Bochy's coming back to play. I mean, he's played it since he left as a Giant. He's always liked to play in San Diego. I would like to take 2 out of 3 from the Rangers. If we could take 2 out of 3 from the Rangers,
Yeah, I think our starting pitching is good enough to do
yeah,
that. It's just a matter of that being the case. And then them not destroying our bullpen. Which that team is like a big momentum, big inning team.
yes.
And so you just can't let them have a big inning and you'll probably be okay. But we'll see. It's going to be weird because, like, you probably have to start buying now. I don't think you wait till the deadline. I think you have to start putting your deals together right now.
I think the problem with the Pirates, the beginning of this season showed that they have really good young talent. Mm-hmm. They're not going to be sellers for some of their great stars. And the other thing is all their players are young players they have lots of control over. They don't have a player that they could just trade away. Like everyone says, McCutchen might be traded.
Yeah. Maybe,
but they're selling out crowds because Andrew McCutchen's back.
Right.
They're going to put a statue of him up in Pittsburgh. Like people love McCutchen. It's weird. So like I said, the next 10 games, I say we take 2 out of 3 from the Pirates.
Yeah.
We should sweep them.
Yeah.
We should sweep them and be at 500 and go and play the Rangers. But they've proven to me that they can't sweep teams.
Yeah.
We've only done it twice all year.
Yep.
And one of them was in Mexico. It was a 2-game series.
Yeah. So frustrating.
And so 4-2 for those 2 series. And who knows what Rockies are going to be.
Yeah, I just don't like it. I don't like going to Coors. So it'll be what it be.
I do like the fact that you've mentioned this before, and that with the new open schedule, everyone plays everyone. Just hearing other teams complain about playing in Colorado.
Oh, yeah, I love it. I love it so much.
I heard one of the Yankees broadcasters going off on it. This place is a joke.
Yeah, it is.
Welcome to my last 30 years of life.
Place is awful. Oh my goodness. Well, James, maybe I'm cautiously optimistic about this trade deadline. I'm excited to record. It'd be fun to have a cool trade or two, I'll say.
It would be.
But we'll see. We'll have instant reactions, not instant. Pretty quick reactions to the trades when it happens. So, anything else, James?
No. I just want
to stop recording this podcast.
I really do. It feels like
the same podcast.
I'm running out of things to say that relate to. Oh well. Here we are again, ladies and gentlemen. That's not all good. It's not all bad.
Here's the thing: them being terrible lets us ideate on like how do we make this team better for the next 3 years, right? Like okay, who do we trade to get a controllable? Like that's the fun part about it. Being this mediocre team is like they might turn it around, they might not. So I guess we can't be hopeful about the future, nor can we be confident about the present. You know what I mean? So it's not a great place to be.
It's basically, I'm going to relate it to you right now.
Okay.
My brother currently has a child that desperately wants to walk.
Yeah, he does.
But just hates crawling.
Yeah, true.
And we're like, guy, you have to crawl first. Then you can walk. That's what the Padres are. You're like, right now you're sort of crawling. And then when you get good at that, you can walk. Come on and walk. Your son is a perfect example of the Padres right now. Like, just get this right. Start crawling. Get to be half good, and then you can start running. This whole like, will you, won't you thing is getting kind of irritating.
It is very irritating.
I mean, the good thing about your kid, he's really cute.
Yeah, that's true.
And he looks so much like me. It's ridiculous.
It's very true. Yeah. Okay, James. Until next time, go Padres.
Go Padres.